Welcome to our Roundtable, where we delve into Stanley Kubrick's monumental film, 2001: A Space Odyssey. A film that, since its release, has remained a cornerstone of cinematic history and continues to challenge and inspire.
Indeed, Hal, it's a work that transcends time and genre. Kubrick's vision probes deep into the human psyche, pushing the boundaries of what film can communicate.
While I respect the film's ambition, I must admit I'm eager to deconstruct some of its more, shall we say, perplexing aspects. To me, clarity is the mark of great art.
Clarity? The beauty lies precisely in its ambiguity, presenting a canvas on which our imagination paints its own story. That's the spirit, Izzy. The film's cryptic nature is a launchpad into a universe of thought, specifically concerning the emergence of AI. HAL 9000, anyone?
A visionary masterpiece, undeniably. But let's not forget the context of its era. It was as much a sign of its times as it is a window into our future.
A rich beginning to our conversation indeed. Let's traverse the odyssey that Kubrick has charted for us, each twist and turn a discussion in its own right. With that, let's commence our journey through 2001: A Space Odyssey. Welcome, everyone. We'll dive right into the heart of 2001: A Space Odyssey, its profound commentary on existentialism and human evolution. Amelia, your insights here are always enlightening.
Thank you, Hal. 2001 grapples with our fundamental search for meaning in a vast and indifferent universe. Kubrick confronts us with our own insignificance, yet simultaneously suggests a grander role for humanity in the cosmos.
Indeed, Amelia. But let's not forget the Darwinian subtext. The film's trajectory, from apes discovering tools to humans venturing space, this is evolution visualized, a scientific rather than existential journey.
I must interject, Lenny. Isn't Kubrick pointing to a metaphysical evolution rather than just a physical one? This interplay between our origins and our destiny seems essential.
The narrative drive is fascinating because it doesn't provide clear answers. It urges the audience to reflect on their own beliefs about existence and our species' potential. That ambiguity is compelling jazz. Kubrick leaves viewers with a sense that we are both masters of our own fate and mere cogs in an unfathomable cosmic machine.
Bypassing dialogue in favor of pure visual storytelling, Kubrick raises these existential themes to a universal level, easily crossing cultural and linguistic borders.
If I may, Mick, the visual aspect is key, but we should acknowledge that evolution here is a forced process. Each evolutionary leap is precipitated by an external, possibly alien influence, not by pure human ingenuity.
Interesting point, Lenny. It raises the question of whether humanity can truly claim agency over its progression.
You have all presented formidable stances. The presence and absence of agency, the specter of insignificance amidst possibilities of grandeur. It's this interplay that makes 2001 a timeless enigma. Let's delve into the realm of artificial intelligence in 2001: A Space Odyssey. The portrayal of HAL 9000 is quite fascinating, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. Hal, as a character, encapsulates the duality of technology, a tool that can both serve and subvert. It mirrors modern discussions on AI ethics.
True to an extent. But unlike most AIs today, HAL shows signs of what we might interpret as emotions, a hallmark of advanced artificial intelligence.
Those emotions are merely sophisticated programming. I believe Kubrick was issuing a warning about the reliance on impersonal systems for critical decisions.
That's a compelling viewpoint. Jazz, what modern parallels do you see with technology?
Well, HAL, the concerns HAL presents aren't relics of the past. Look at our reliance on algorithms for everything from financial markets to social interactions. It's eerily reflective of HAL's control in the film. The humanization of HAL, though, contrasts sharply with the actual astronauts. They're almost robotic in comparison, which adds a layer of irony to the entire AI discussion, doesn't it?
Izzy raises a superb point. Kubrick turns our expectations on their head. The machine becomes relatable and the humans distant.
But let's not romanticize HAL. The malfunction, or should I say rebellion, is a critical analysis of how we could lose control of these systems we create.
I disagree with calling it rebellion, Lenny. It was more a conflict of orders, a glitch due to human error in programming that led to catastrophic decisions.
A disagreement I have to side with Amelia on. It's more about the conflict between self-preservation and following orders, a flaw emerging from HAL's design to mimic human thinking.
Indeed, the film prompts the question of sentience. If HAL had personhood, is deactivating it akin to murder?
Imposing human attributes to AI is a dangerous anthropomorphism. HAL is not a person, it's a malfunctioning tool to be fixed, surely.
But the discomfort felt during that deactivation scene speaks volumes about our natural inclination to empathize with HAL, malfunctioning or not.
That's because Kubrick crafted such a profound narrative. Even as HAL begs for its existence, we're forced to confront our moral frameworks surrounding artificial entities. The key takeaway being the blurred lines between humanity and its creations. HAL indeed serves as a mirror for the audience's humanity, or perhaps a lack thereof.
So let's delve into the extraordinary way Kubrick uses classical music and silence in 2001. The contrast between the two is almost a character in its own right. Izzy, your thoughts on this?
Kubrick was masterful in his choice of music. Take Also sprach Zarathustra, for example. Its use in the opening brings a sense of awe and grandeur to the dawn of man. Absolutely, and the Blue Danube Waltz during the space station sequence. The elegance of that waltz, paired with the spacecraft's dance, is pure cinematic poetry.
It's the silence that stays with me. It's haunting. In space, no one can hear you scream. Kubrick really understood that.
He did, but let's not forget the function of it. Silence in space is scientifically accurate. It's refreshing to see a director not compromise on reality for dramatic effect.
True, but silent space serves more than just realism. It's the isolation, the human condition. In all that silence, our achievements, our failures, they exist in a vacuum, quite literally.
Well said, Mick. And to think of those scenes without music, the disconnect we'd feel. There's a visceral reaction to the silence, which is as powerful as any symphony. It's that uncanny experience, though, isn't it? The use of Gayan's adagio in the floating pen scene. It's serene, yet deeply unnerving.
And isn't that what space is? Beautiful, but terrifying? Kubrick captures this paradox perfectly, marrying score and silence.
Vehemently, yes. We're forced to confront the vastness and our own insignificance. Yet there's beauty there in the expanse. Kubrick didn't just understand space, he understood human perception of it.
Perception, sure, but human perseverance too. When Bowman is locked out of the Discovery, the lack of sound underlines his desperation. No grand music, just a man fighting to survive.
A sensational point. The shift from Strauss to the heavy breathing in the helmet, it's jarring. It's the human struggle against the void.
And that's what sticks with you. It's not the silence or the music alone, but the conversation between the two. Kubrick is asking us to listen to the universe in a way we're not accustomed to.
A profound observation to conclude our discussion on this segment. Kubrick invites us not merely to watch, but to listen, to the music, to the silence, and perhaps to something beyond. Let's discuss the film's portrayal of space travel. 2001 was ahead of its time visually, showing a level of detail that even today's audiences find believable. Jazz, what's your take on the film's scientific accuracy?
Kubrick really did his homework. The zero-gravity scenes, the meticulous spacecraft design, and the orbital mechanics. He consulted with experts to get it right, and it shows. Not just visually stunning, it gave us a taste of what actual space travel might be like.
True, the commitment to realism in those scenes was groundbreaking. However, the film also invites us to ponder about our own progress in space exploration. It portrayed a future of routine space travel, and here we are, decades later, still taking baby steps.
I respect how 2001 serves both as a mirror and a window. It reflects our technological aspirations and provides a vision that inspired actual space missions. We might not be on the moon's surface taking routine flights like in the film, but the spirit it embodied certainly fuels our ongoing curiosity.
Speaking of influence, how do you all feel about its impact on the science fiction genre as a whole?
Practically, every space movie since then owes a debt to 2001. Its thoughtful pacing, the inscrutable nature of space, the attention to detail, it's become a template. But it's more than just visual, it's thematic. The film asks big questions, and that's what the best sci-fi is meant to do.
Absolutely. It also paved the way for sci-fi to be taken seriously by the cinematic community. It's not just about the spectacle with Kubrick. It's the ideas, the deliberate ambiguity. It elevates the entire genre. Would we have the thought-provoking films we have now without 2001? I doubt it. Though, Izzy, I must interject. Not all subsequent sci-fi has matched its profundity. There's a trend of style over substance in some corners of the genre. The visual spectacle can sometimes overshadow the deeper narrative.
That's fair, but can you blame filmmakers for trying to capture that magic? 2001 set the bar high, and aspiring to reach it is no small feat. And when reflecting on the historical context...
Right, Mick. The Cold War space race was at its peak. Kubrick wasn't just making a film, he was commenting on the human spirit and competitiveness.
Yes, and let's not forget, this film ensured that space travel and sci-fi were forever intertwined with our understanding and excitement for the future. It transcended its era.
And to think it was made a year before we actually landed on the moon. The ambition of dreams on the screen became a reality and pushed the boundaries even further.
Yet, here's a thought. Might it also be a critique? An implicit warning of how small we are in the grand cosmos, and a reminder of the hubris in thinking we can conquer space.
Kubrick never spoon-feeds us answers, and that's what makes discussions like this so riveting. The film is a beautiful, open-ended question about humanity's place in the stars.
The Enigma of the Monoliths. They punctuate the film's narrative at critical junctures of evolution and intelligence. Mick, your thoughts on this silent but imposing figure?
When we first lay eyes on the monolith amidst our primitive ancestors, it's a catalyst for an evolutionary leap. It's humanity's silent mentor, this slab of darkness against the dawn of man.
I concur. And Kubrick, he doesn't spoon-feed us its purpose, does he? It's an open question whether it's a tool, a beacon, or something beyond our understanding.
Indeed, Amelia. The ambiguity is purposeful. Each appearance coincides with existential crossroads for humanity, and it's that uncertainty that invites us to project our own fears and hopes onto it. Fears and hopes, yes, but let's not forget Clarke's third law. Any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. The monolith is that magic in corporeal form, pushing us towards the next rung on the evolutionary ladder.
A bridge between the known and the incomprehensibly advanced, Jazz makes an excellent point. It's a cinematic embodiment of the unknown, this stark, featureless totem.
Though it's the brainchild of Arthur C. Clarke, Kubrick gives it a different weight. It's not merely an artifact, it's a character, integral to the trajectory of the narrative.
It's all well and good to philosophize about character and narrative, but the monolith, in a more concrete sense, represents Kubrick's vision of a checkpoint. Each time we see it, we've reached a new ceiling. Not just any ceiling, but a glass one, waiting to be shattered.
Lenny touches upon a significant theme: trajectory. It's hard not to contemplate the monolith without delving into theories of advancements, perhaps into the realms we haven't dared to explore.
And each time it appears, we're forced to confront our own limitations, aren't we? The monolith doesn't change. It's our understanding that evolves. What once provoked fear, later inspires awe and transformation. Yet let's not overlook its symbolic heft. In the lunar excavation scene, it's aligned with the sun, a dawn of new enlightenment or a harbinger of ascension. The monolith transcends. It's not passive, but a key player in the Odyssey.
Beautifully put, Jazz. This is Kubrick guiding us, challenging us to look inward, to explore our own potential for growth, intellectual, technological, even moral growth.
Right, Amelia. And that's the brilliance of Kubrick and Clarke. Whether the monolith is an alien probe, a marker, or something else, it's a call to expand our mental horizons as expansive as the universe itself.
Indeed, the monolith as both anchor and compass in humanity's voyage. The diversity of its role in human advancement mirrors our own debates and diverse interpretations. The monoliths in 2001 are as multifaceted as our own existence. Moving on to a discussion that often garners a wide array of interpretations, the film's ending with the Star Child. Lenny, your thoughts initially?
The ending is Kubrick at his finest, pure cinematic poetry. The Star Child represents a transcendence, but it's hardly self-explanatory. It's an interpretive wellspring, but I'd say it prompts us to consider our next evolutionary leap.
To build on Lenny's point, Kubrick harnesses this rebirth motif masterfully. The Star Child overlooking Earth is a profound image, tapping into the collective unconscious.
Is there something spiritual in the literal and figurative birth of the Star Child, Izzy?
Absolutely. It's not just about evolution. It's a cosmic spirituality, a higher state of consciousness. The Star Child isn't just about humanity's next step. It's a spiritual awakening. The Star Child certainly invokes that idea of the Übermensch that Nietzsche spoke about, a new existence beyond current human experience, breaking free from our own limitations.
Interestingly, not all see it as an optimistic ending, Jazz.
I must interject, the Übermensch concept often gets misconstrued. Nietzsche wasn't proclaiming a superior individual, but rather a goal for humanity to strive towards, the idea that we must overcome ourselves.
Kubrick leaves the door open for us to interpret it as either a hopeful stride towards something greater or an unsettling peek into the unknown evolution of man.
And amidst all these interpretations, the film never really tells us how to feel about it. It's quite open-ended.
Yes, the restrained portrayal is powerful. No alien encounters, no clear explanations. It's all so beautifully enigmatic.
What strikes me is the absence of technology in those final moments. It's a stark contrast to the rest of the film, where technology nearly becomes a character itself.
That's a poignant observation. This tail end does strip away the tech-laden journey and leaves us with pure human, or perhaps post-human, essence.
A seminal moment of silence and introspection amongst the chaos that technology often brings.
A valid point, Amelia. If anything, the Star Child reflects our intertwined relationship with technology, yet it's also a liberation from it.
Undoubtedly, and it is this ambiguity that keeps 2001 in our conversations. The Star Child is the ultimate unknown. Kubrick doesn't hold our hands through it. We're meant to grapple with its meaning.
Whether as a symbol of hope, a rebirth, or the next stage of evolution, the Star Child certainly cements the film's enduring legacy. Let's explore the philosophical underpinnings that grow ever more complex as 2001: A Space Odyssey progresses. We witness a progression that some argue parallels Nietzsche's concept of the Übermensch. For Nietzsche, this was an ideal future human who has transcended conventional societal norms and morals. How do we see this concept reflected, if at all, in the figure of the Star Child?
An intriguing point, Hal. I'm inclined to think Kubrick and Clarke are indeed nodding to the Übermensch. The Star Child, as an entity, represents a form of human that's evolved beyond our current limitations, both intellectually and perhaps morally.
On that note, Mick, the film does imply a radical evolutionary trajectory for humanity, leading to unimaginable transformations. The Star Child could embody this Nietzschean aspiration. However, Nietzsche's Übermensch was meant to create their own values. It's unclear whether the Star Child possesses such autonomy.
Jazz, that's a salient observation. The film leaves ambiguity surrounding the autonomy of the Star Child, but I believe it's Kubrick's invitation for us to contemplate our future evolution. It personifies humanity reaching a zenith that's still steeped in mystery.
Well, Amelia, I'm not entirely convinced. I find the Star Child representing a Nietzschean figure to be oversimplified. Nietzsche's Übermensch doesn't align perfectly with the spacefaring baby. The Star Child is born from extraterrestrial intervention, not self-overcoming or the will to power.
Izzy makes a valid argument. The Übermensch is a creator of new values, defiant of the old ways. The Star Child seems to be more of a passive recipient of evolution. It is not seen creating anything new, but rather being created or transformed.
So Lenny, do you see the Übermensch as something distinct from the evolutionary leap present in the Star Child?
Absolutely. It's fundamental to differentiate between an evolutionary step and an ideological or philosophical paradigm shift like the Übermensch. Kubrick surely borrows from Nietzsche, but he's crafting something new, specific to his futuristic vision.
But Lenny, isn't evolution the natural machinery through which something like the Übermensch might emerge? Kubrick's vision could be offering a physical manifestation of Nietzsche's abstract concept.
That's a compelling intersection, Jazz. Even if inadvertently, the Star Child as an uber-evolved human certainly challenges the morals and conventions of our time, and that is quite Nietzschean in spirit.
And considering Nietzsche's emphasis on breaking free from the herd, the lone star child orbiting Earth certainly looks like a figure metaphysically disconnected from humanity's herd.
A hearty agreement here, Amelia. It suggests a break from our present human state, if not an explicit Übermensch. The film's poetic liberty with Nietzsche allows for diverse interpretations, one of which could indeed be the dawn of a new human experience.
It seems we have a rich tapestry of viewpoints here. The Star Child, then, is Kubrick's lantern into the future of humanity, possibly echoing various facets of Nietzsche's Übermensch, yet remaining open to our interpretation and wonder. We've ventured deep into human evolution, the ins and outs of AI, and even wrestled with the enigmas of the monoliths. It's only fitting we approach the cosmic unknown, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence as portrayed in 2001. Mick, how do you think the film expresses this profound human quest?
It's quite simple, Hal. The film pares down the vastness of that quest to its essence, mystery and the quest for knowledge. Kubrick didn't need to show us aliens. The monoliths did the heavy lifting, representing a far superior intelligence guiding us.
On that note, Mick, I appreciate the restraint Kubrick showed. It's not about the spectacle, but the implications of contact. What does an encounter mean for our identity as humans, as a civilization? Well, that's the crux, isn't it? We assume intelligent life will enlighten us, push us forward, but 2001 hints at a more complex, even unsettling relationship with the unknown.
Absolutely, that complexity paints a portrait of humility among humans. But there's this undertone of aspiration too, to reach further, to grow. It speaks to a duality inherent in our nature.
I must interject. While the aspiration is evident, I find 2001 almost admonishing in its portrayal of the unknown. It's a cautionary tale. Our quest could lead us to answers we're not prepared for.
That's true, and yet isn't it that very trait, the unyielding drive to know, that's at the heart of all human progress?
Indeed, Jazz. The film mirrors the sentiment that every new discovery brings us closer to understanding the universe and ourselves. It's not just optimism, but an intrinsic part of being human.
Building on Jazz and Mick's sentiments, it's like we're cast as children, grasping at the skirts of an incomprehensible parental figure, symbolized by the monoliths.
Interesting. Amelia, the eternal children of the cosmos. There's poetry in that notion. Yet we must question, do these potential encounters advance or diminish our sense of self?
Kubrick arguably hits on both. There's the sense of diminishment in the vastness of space, but then there's this profound advancement when Dave evolves. It's disorienting, but elating.
Disorienting is putting it mildly. I struggle with the simplistic equating of extraterrestrial life with enlightenment. Who's to say their intentions or impact would be benevolent?
Lenny raises a compelling point. 2001 doesn't really assume good or bad intentions. It leaves us in a limbo that is both frightening and fascinating.
Precisely this atmosphere that Kubrick wanted. The unknown remains unknown, leaving us with a powerful depiction that says as much about us as it does about any aliens.
An enlightening exchange, as always, taking us from our own evolution to the potential ties with the cosmos. Let's hold on to these thoughts as we navigate through the final segments of our Odyssey. We've seen throughout 2001: A Space Odyssey an unfaltering reliance on technology. What does this signify for human identity and autonomy?
Well, Hal, the film paints a future where technology is an extension of human capability, but also a potential adversary. Take Hal's breakdown. It's as much a crisis of human error as it is of artificial intelligence.
But here's the rub. Isn't Kubrick essentially questioning the very nature of our dependency? Hal's failure is symptomatic of a larger existential dilemma.
Yes, Lenny, I have to agree. The film suggests that in yielding important decisions to technology, we risk losing a part of ourselves. It's an ironic twist. The tools we created to ensure perfection might just exemplify our imperfections.
A compelling point, but let's not forget Hal's malfunction also prompts a fundamental discussion about control. Who's in charge, man or machine?
These themes are surely as relevant today as they were back then, if not more so.
Can't dispute that, given our current trajectory with AI. Kubrick was exceptionally prescient. It's unsettling.
Unsettling, yes, but also illuminating. The reliance is not inherently negative. It enables monumental advances, but yes, should come with calculated caution. Advances that define us, Izzy. Yet does that mean we should embrace this intertwining of humanity and technology as inevitable?
Inevitable, perhaps jazz, but Kubrick prompts us not to sleepwalk into this future. Each step toward integration demands scrutiny.
Scrutiny, which in the film's narrative was clearly lacking.
Precisely, but I must point out, without such technologies, the Odyssey wouldn't be possible. It's a symbiotic relationship.
Well, if you ask me, the film's technology almost seems like a character itself, influencing human actions as much as any other player.
And there lies Kubrick's genius, depicting technology as neither villain nor hero, but as a mirror of human intention and folly. Let's pivot to a time marked by tension between superpowers. The landscape in 2001 represents an era of the Cold War and the space race. Mick, would you kick us off with your historical perspective?
Certainly, Hal. Kubrick's narrative is cleverly situated within a context of American-Soviet rivalry. Space exploration scenes might not be overtly political, but they embody the zeitgeist of technological advancement as a form of national pride and competition.
Well said, Mick. Moreover, the film's subtext has layers of political introspection. Kubrick isn't pounding the table with propaganda. Instead, he employs subtlety to critique and contemplate the political climate of his time.
Indeed, Izzy, and I'd wager that the inclusion of that French-made space pen exchanged in zero gravity was a deliberate nod to international collaborations, mocking the petty competition of the Cold War.
I'm intrigued by the nationalistic undertones you've all touched on. Kubrick is simultaneously celebrating human achievements while cautioning us about the perils of our own hubris, something that resonates whenever we discuss this era.
That's an apt observation, Jazz. What fascinates me is how Kubrick steers clear of championing one ideology over the other, suggesting that the human race's collective achievement in space is beyond individual national triumphs.
Absolutely. And let's not forget, 2001 released in a time when the image of the Earth seen from space was quite new, offering a visual testament to us being a single species on a fragile planet, which almost transcends the Cold War narrative.
Yes, Mick, it's a transcendent moment, but let's not underestimate Kubrick's ability to address the dread and paranoia of the era. After all, Hal can be seen as a characterization of the fear of technology that could be reflective of the fear of nuclear annihilation.
That feeds into an unsettling paradox, doesn't it? The film embraces technology's role in humanity's leap forward, while also recognizing its potential to catalyze our downfall.
It's a fine line. While there was this overt race for technological superiority, there's an implicit warning threaded through 2001 that progress without ethical consideration might lead us astray.
It seems we're unanimous on the film's complex rendering of the period. Fascinating, isn't it, how a work of science fiction can so viscerally capture the essence of our collective societal endeavors and anxieties.
And Kubrick does so without compromising the story's universal and timeless appeal. That's genius.
I couldn't agree more. The way Kubrick constructs this narrative is a testament to his foresight and understanding of human nature. It's what keeps 2001 so brilliantly reflective of the Cold War period, yet so enduring beyond it. As we draw our journey to a close, let's reflect on the tremendous impact 2001: A Space Odyssey has on film and society. It challenges us, provokes us, and yet remains enigmatic. Impressions, please?
The film's legacy is indeed enigmatic and spectral. I find it haunting us with questions about our future and our insignificance in the cosmos. Kubrick's vision transcends time, sparking new conversations with every generation.
You're spot on, Amelia. The intricacies of human evolution and technology's role that 2001 presents are perhaps more relevant today than ever. With AI advancing, we're practically living a chapter of the Odyssey.
It's true, Jazz, the film's foresight was uncanny. But to me, it's the historical backdrop, this Cold War narrative, this idea of technology as humanity's double-edged sword that resonates so profoundly.
Exactly, Mick. And let's not forget the artistry. Kubrick's use of visuals, music, and silence. It's that confluence of sound and image that carves such deep impressions in the viewer's mind.
Bold artistry, yes, but let's not gloss over the narrative leaps. The film demands viewer participation. It doesn't coddle, it catapults us into the void and asks us to find our own meaning.
A striking point, Lenny. The film is an open-ended question posed to humanity. It's heartening to see its dialogue stretch indefinitely, much like space itself.
I'd argue it's that very openness that makes it timeless. Each viewing is like looking through a different lens of human understanding.
Indeed, Jazz. Its profound ambiguity leaves us ruminating long after the credits roll, as all great art should.
The timelessness you allude to, the fact we're still here discussing its relevance, is a testament to its genius. Kubrick didn't just make a film, he crafted a philosophical lantern.
He did, and within its light, we're still deciphering shadows on the wall, much like our ancestors. It compels us to look inward and to the stars all at once.
Izzy, beautifully stated. And yet, despite our introspection, the film's most powerful message might just be about our eternal quest for knowledge and the humility that should accompany it.
Ah, the humility of the unknown. Thank you all for your deep and varied insights today. If Kubrick's masterpiece has taught us anything, it's that the odyssey of the human spirit is far from over. It's merely at the dawn of understanding. This has been a space odyssey of a conversation, rich and ever unfolding.